Well, good, happy late afternoon, everybody. My name is Ron Wheeler, and I want to welcome you all to our presentation tonight. I started the meeting just a few minutes early. That way, I know that all of the technology is working and all that great stuff. So, do me a favor if you can hear my voice and you can see my screen, it should say how to generate 3% per month with one option trade per week. Just give me a quick shout out in the chat window. That way, I know that everything is A OK. And I see a couple of you popping in already right there. Let me see if I can get this thing out of the way. Mike and NW, Lewis and Tim and Joyce and Monty and Andrew and Alareza. Hopefully I pronounced your name right. Brian and William. Excellent. So from the names that I read, sounds like everything is working great. I'm going to go ahead and turn the slide here, and you should actually see my picture up there in the upper right-hand corner. You can see my house in the background there. I do these from home when I do these later classes at 4:30. So I'm working from home today. And fortunately, you're lucky because it's gymnastics night for my daughter. So my daughter's out of here, and my son, my other two sons are with them. So probably no screaming kids till about 5:15 or so that you might not hear in the background. So that's always a good thing. But good. We already did the type yes if you can hear me and see my screen. That sounds like it's working pretty well. So I think we are in good shape as far as that goes. Just before we get started, I'm kind of curious. What time is it by you? Where are you joining us from? I am in Ohio, and as I always like to do, just to let you guys know, this is not a recording. You can see Monday, October 23rd at 4:28. So that's what time it is by me. And I'm in Ohio. I'm born and raised Ohioan. If you are familiar with VectorVest, you may know that VectorVest has an office in North Carolina. Well, we also have an office in Ohio that has a lot of our data and administrative folks, our accounting and our CEOs in Akron. Our founder, Dr. DeLito, was from Akron. So I'm born and raised in Ohio, and I got the great privilege, I should say, of working from our Ohio office, where all my colleagues here, Todd and John, and if Brian comes later on, they're all from North Carolina. So I always just like to see. Jill, I'm calling you out first. You're in Australia, 6:30 a.m. Well, thank you for getting up early and joining. Alareza, 1:30 in Tacoma, 4:30 Dave, Brian, 3:30, you're out in the Midwest there. Texas, 3:30, Kansas City, I see, and Monty at 4:30, 4:30 in Puerto Rico. Welcome to you as well. Mike in Connecticut. Good to have all of you with us. Great. New Hampshire, William. My picture froze. That can happen from time to time. That's these wonderful technologies that we have. So 4:30 in Toronto. Oh, and by the way, while we're just kind of chatting it up here, what do you guys do for a living? Retired? Still working? I always just like to ask because when I was originally tasked, well, to be completely fair, I wasn't really tasked to put this class together. I put this class together because I thought that people would like it and they'd like to create income. But anytime you do something like this in a business world, right, you create your avatar. Who do you think is going to benefit from this type of learning? And my avatar originally was retired folks that really wanted to create a second income. And, that avatar for me has kind of expanded over the years. Now I kind of look at myself as someone that would do this type of work. Someone that only wants to spend an hour or two a week trading, maybe even less than that, less than an hour, but still wants to create an additional income, kind of like having a second job. So, William, I see retired. Dave retired, still working realtor. Charles still working, retired. Andrew, IT network consultant. Brian, you and I are from the same cloth. I'm a reformed IT worker. Now, I got out of IT a long time ago. I was a Novell administrator, Novell engineer, and Windows specialist, and MCSE and all that kind of stuff way back in the 90s. So I ended up transitioning from the IT world over to the finance world. I worked IT for a company, and then I transitioned into trading, and I just transitioned into, becoming a lecturer and becoming a teacher once I got good at trading. So interesting how your careers kind of pass out there. All right, well, let's do this. It's 4:31. Let's go ahead and get started. I want to welcome again all of you to our class tonight. How to generate 3% per month with as little as one option trade per week. The options paycheck experience. So I hope you're excited about it. The information I'm going to show you has not only changed the way that I trade, I've seen it change the lives of so many people that have taken this course over the 8 years I've been teaching it. And you're going to see in this webinar how you can put together a trading system that can average 3% per month or even more. Now, that figure is based on the fact that our portfolio and most of our clients are, in fact, generating on average 3% per month. And they're using some of our most basic income strategies. Now, keep in mind, you can do this regardless of market direction. So bullish, bearish, it doesn't matter. I'm extremely bearish right now. I made like 4% last week alone on bearish positions. It doesn't matter if you have experience or not. I like teaching beginners because you don't have any bad habits. I can teach you right away from the start how to do this. So if you're new to this, and if you don't understand some of the stuff I'm talking about tonight with options, it's okay. We can get you there. Doing this is safer than simply buying or selling stocks, and it's something so simple it can be implemented quickly. Okay? Now, if I was in your position, I'd say, hey, is this legit? Can you prove it? I'd be there as well. I see these annoying overhyped advertisements. I see a lot of this on YouTube and Instagram of the young guys with crypto and their Lamborghinis and their Rolexes and stuff. I'm more of a Breitling guy personally and Audemars Piguet, but that's just me. But anyway, I see that. Oh my God, make 6,000%. It's ridiculous. It's not there. Okay, that is a quadruple 4,000-foot home run in baseball. It just isn't there. I'm not like that. This is not like that. I'm going to try to prove to you what a real trading system looks like. Okay, this is the back testing and the actual trades that we've done, a combination of both of our very simple trade based on the S&P 500. It's based on the index. It's one trade a week. And over the 6.5, almost 7 years, it's generated on average of 4.5% per month. So if you just started with a $5,000 account, you'd made $17,000 over that time. Very, very, very conservative trading strategy. Now, what I want you to notice about this graph too is I want you to notice it's real. You're going to have periods where you make a lot of cash, but then you're going to have periods where the system has some drawdown, kind of struggles to get back up from there, and then you'll have systems where it kind of goes again. So that's how real systems work. I draw back to Bernie Madoff and Harry Markopolos, who was the financial guy that kind of busted it open, if you will. And one of the things, this was a 60 Minutes interview, I think. One of the things that kind of triggered me to Markopolos was he's like, how do you know that Bernie Madoff was a fraud? He's like, well, there was two things that I realized that made him a fraud. He's like, first off, I looked at his results, and his results were like that. He's like, you know what? That's impossible. There's no way in God's green earth that you could ever have a system that has no drawdown. It doesn't work that way. And by the way, the second thing, if you're interested, was all of the options that are trading in the world wouldn't have been enough liquidity for him to do the split strike strategy that he was doing. So that was the other thing. But that's what a real system looks like. Now, some of my clients were kind enough to share their photos and their results with you, and we're going to talk about a few of them today. Now, these are real people just like you. So as I teach you the system today and share with you their stories, I want you to pay close attention because you might find you're in a very similar position now as they were when they started. Now, to introduce myself a little more formally, my name is Ron Wheeler. I am the options trading manager here at VectorVest, and I've been trading now since 97. So what is that, like 26 years? When I first started trading, I lost a lot of money because I was like a lot of traders. I mean, you got to learn how to do it, right? Now, I was fortunate in that I had some of the best traders in the country at my disposal. I didn't use them properly. I didn't use the resources properly. I had data feeds back then that would cost $3,000 a month back in the 90s. Okay. I was extremely lucky. I had a lot of resources because I worked for a company that developed trading software and I had all this at my disposal. So I started trading and I primarily traded futures. I traded some commodity futures and I day traded the S&P 500 and I day traded a lot of the Dow Jones, the Euro, 30-year bonds, the yen. I traded a lot of commodities. And I struggled when I started because like a lot of traders, you got to kind of learn. It doesn't matter how good your tutors are. You sometimes have to kind of experience it for yourself. And trading is hard. Investing is hard. It goes against a lot of human nature. Being greedy, getting out too quick when you're wrong. I had to learn. It takes a while. I got to learn how to make money when the market's going up and how to make money when the market's going down. And then once I determine how I can make money and how I can trade, I got to manage my risk. So I'm not making $100 on winners and losing 1,000 on losers. It's a juggle, right? I was never an options guy. I didn't like options at the time because options to me were something that just created more chance, if you will. The stock could go up, the stock could go down. If I bought the wrong option, I might not make money. Options were very, very ugly to me at the time. Well, that changed probably about 5 or 6 years into my trading career. And one of my clients who had our software came out to our office. He was from the Midwest and he was a hedge fund trader and he was an option specialist. And he's like, Ron, I know you like options or don't like options, but let me show you what I do with options and kind of give you the more institutional side of an options trader. So he showed me how he sets his option trades up to where even if he was wrong on direction, he could still profit. So when I'm losing on my trade, he's winning. He also showed me how it was incredibly easy to manage risk using options if you do it right. Things that I was never exposed to. Okay? That was a beautiful thing. Now, I had been trading sometime, a couple of years at that point where I was profitable and making money. So I kind of stuck some of that in the back of my head. I'm like, I'll start dabbling with options. Well, I dabbled with them. And then probably about 12 years ago, maybe, I decided that I didn't want to day trade anymore. No more day trading. No more sitting in front of my computer for 8 hours a day. I started to transition into options like he had showed me back then. And now to this day, I'm like 99% options because I can do the same trading. I can make the same money by being a lot more passive. So I'm going to show you that journey that I took to get there. So I'm going to show you today the exact system I use to help generate these types of returns, case studies and examples of our clients who are doing this. I'm going to show you the system so that if you learn and follow our strategy, you can do the same. The best part of learning options is there's no guesswork involved. Everything comes down to a very mechanical process. It's not like when I was day trading where there was a lot of interpretation. This is not like that. It's mechanical. So even for the beginner, if you can follow a simple step-by-step guide of yes, yes, no, you're in good shape. Okay? And I'm going to prove to you that our options paycheck system can get these returns safer than simply trading stocks or just buying options alone. And stay with me to the end. I got a little guide that I'm going to send you guys, or I'll put up in the handout section. It's a little PDF I created just to kind of give you a guide on how to create a checklist of planning your trade. So just give me a reminder at the end. We'll stick it up there in that handout section. All right. Now, why is this important? This whole income philosophy? Because without an income system, it's really on you. And that creates a number of problems. If you're not retired, it keeps you stuck in that situation where you have to work in order to live. Whether you got a lot of money or no money at all, concerns about finance are one of the leading causes of stress. Worrying about whether you're going to have enough or if you're going to run out of money, that has a huge impact on your life, your health, your relationship. If you're already retired, you might be watching your savings get depleted faster than you can fill it, especially with the way prices have risen so much in the last 3 to 4 years, right? If things don't improve, you may fear if you're retired, you might have to go to work. You're going to get behind on your goals, maybe even question your ability as an investor. Worst case scenario, you might run out of money. Now, I think this is one of the most important points of the webinar. If you want to see financial freedom, you got to have income. Bottom line, to be financially free, you need to learn how to generate income from your investments to cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. So I'll say that again. In order to become financially free, you need to learn to generate income from your investments. Okay? Now, I'm not talking buying stocks and the stocks go up. I'm talking creating income, whether the market's going up or down based on your cash and your capital. So whether you're still working like I am or retired, that ability to generate income from your investments is one of the most empowering skill sets you can have. Because when you have the ability to generate income from your investments, your life will change. If you're still working, you can increase your earning capacity. It's like having a second job. If you're retired, you can have a consistent source of income as if you quit your job, but you still get paid. It's like a tap you can turn on when you need it. That's going to let you do the things you want to do now and when you retire. If you're still working, it can allow you to retire younger. So I'll say it one more time. When the income from your investments exceeds your living expenses, you become financially free. You then have the ability to retire. Now, you'd be surprised in how little it takes to get started. Brian, he's a client of ours. He's a great example of how easy it is to become drawing an income, even if you don't have a lot to invest with. He had some health problems. He needed a way to supplement his income. By using the paycheck system, he was able to generate $23,000 in profit starting with just 6 grand. Now, the one thing that Brian did something a little bit different. He basically risked a little bit more than I would recommend, but because the system itself works well, he was still able to generate profits. 31 of 31 winning trades. And this is not luck. It was simply the result of following the system. Okay? That's serious gains. Now, that is the third standard deviation. Understand that, please. But it can be done. Now, if that is something that's intriguing, if you want to do something like that, you need to have a little bit of a strategic mindset shift. You're either going to continue being a gambler where you lose more than you win, or you're going to become an option seller and win more than you lose. Being an option seller is the way that you can make consistent income each month. It allows you to win even if you're wrong on direction. Now, the reason you want to be the casino or the house, right? Kind of think of this in the gambler, buyer, casino, seller mentality. Why do you want to be the casino or the house? The house always wins. And number two, the house always wins because it controls and stacks probability in its favor. Now, it's kind of funny that we bring up the whole house and the casino analogy, right? I bowl on Thursday nights. And one of my teammates was just talking about this. He's like, well, I got a system that it can win every time. You just, double your bet every time you lose. I'm like, yeah, it's called the martingale system, right? And I said, the problem with that system is very simple. Guess what? When you lose, there's a table maximum. The casino already knows it's a system that can win. They change the rules to make it no longer work. It's as simple as that. That's what the house does. They make the rules so they can control and stack probability. That's what you need to learn as an investor. Okay? Learn to stack and control probability. All right? So, if you want to do that, the first step of that is simple. You're going to become a seller and not a buyer of options. Now, another client of ours is Bruce, and he's a great example of that shift from gambling on stocks to being the casino and controlling and stacking probability. He said prior to working with us, he had mainly taken stock tips from his brokers, and he focused on that S&P system that I showed you earlier. It's our most basic trading system. He said he's not the most technical person in the world. But at the time he's been working with us, he's grown his trading account from 100 to over 497,000 in 3.5 years. He's achieving a 74% win percentage simply by following the rules of the system. And he said it takes him no more than 15 minutes a day. Now, Bruce, he's still a client of mine, and he's expanded his trading out. Now he does do stocks and other things, but he started with a very simple strategy, the S&P 500. Now, here's a simple trade that you've been taught to make, right? You find a stock you like, you think it's going to go up, so you buy it. You buy 100 shares. Or as an option trader, you buy a call. Why do you buy a call? Well, underneath it all, a call gives you the right to buy the stock. And if you buy a call and the stock goes up, generally speaking, your option will increase in price and you can make money. That's the most basic options trade that you're taught to do as a newbie. But what ends up happening a lot of times? Well, maybe the stock doesn't go up. Well, that's okay. You just picked the stock wrong. That happens to all of us from time to time, right? But this is what bothered me as an options beginner back before I really traded them. There was nothing worse than the stock going in the direction you thought it was going to go, but maybe not going up enough. And the option doesn't gain any value. It ends up expiring worthless. Well, what causes that? Well, the first one's easy. Maybe you just picked the wrong stock. That happens, right? Every trade that I make, I don't always have the right direction. Maybe as the option trader, you picked the wrong strike price or maybe the wrong expiration. You just didn't do the option trade right. But that's not what I think it is. The real problem, if you've been losing money or had more losers than winners with other systems, it's not necessarily your fault. It's because most of the systems on the planet teach you to be on the wrong side of the trade. You're taught to buy an option. But as the buyer, the probabilities, they are not on your side. And for most people, they end up buying and losing and buying and losing and buying and losing. Our options paycheck system teaches you a new way of thinking. You want to be a seller and not a buyer. This is how you get ahead of everyone else. This is how you put probability on your side. It's how you win even if you're wrong. So let's take a closer look at being an option seller. Now, As a buyer, a typical trade gives you a 50-50 chance to be a winner because when you buy, the only way you make money is if the stock moves in your direction. But instead of having a buyer's mentality, we're going to have a seller's mentality. So instead of just hoping a stock goes up, here's where the stock is, you're going to strategically set up your trade using probability. Probability will tell you where the stock is not likely to go. So instead of needing the stock just to go in your direction, you can pick a price which says, as long as it doesn't go down to here, I can make money. Now, think about that. You can pick a price down here, and as long as the stock stays above it, you can make money. If the stock goes up, you make money. If the stock goes sideways, you can still make money. The stock can even come down a little, and you can still make money. So right from the very beginning, that probability is in your favor. And you can increase that probability even more. You simply choose a lower price, like you see down here, which gives you a bigger area where you can be right. Now, we do a lot of our trades that start off with a 70% chance of success, and you can only do this as an option seller. As a seller, you're putting the probability of success in your favor, and that is the definition of an income trade. The income trade is one where you can make money even if you're wrong on direction, right? It's like when you go to work. You make a couple bad decisions, you're still going to get your paycheck, hopefully for a while, and you correct those bad decisions. That's the kind of idea here of an income trade. You're wrong, but you still have the ability to draw the profits from that trade. Now, as I mentioned, Bruce is still trading with me. He recently posted on our private Facebook group and said, another day of trading on the beach. Got my eyes on AMC and a cold beer. Life's good. Thank you, VectorVest and Ron, for giving us the tools to do what we can do from anywhere. That is a great picture of financial freedom. Very jealous of Bruce. Bruce is a great guy. Mike is someone who dabbled with options but said he lost on each trade. Have you ever been there? Can you imagine how frustrating that is to lose on each of your trades? Well, eventually he gave it up. He stopped doing it. He went back to the books and he tried to learn more and more about options. But he said even after all he learned, he never felt comfortable. He had all this knowledge and information, but no criteria to know when and how to use it. So I worked with him. I taught him our options paycheck experience system of being an option seller, and he said he became an income machine. He learned the system, and he went out and had the first 17 out of 19 winning trades, and he made 12 grand in 4 months. Now, the key lesson here is he went from buyer or the gambler to seller, being the casino or the house, and that turned his situation around immediately. He was so proud of his success, he even sent me a spreadsheet of his trades. So here's Mike's results. Notice the number of winners on the profit column versus the number of losers. That's pretty typical. Notice the number of days to close. These are not day trades. The average trade lasts about 7 to 10 days. So these are not something you're going to be in and out in a day. Okay. Now, there are fast trades when the market's moving fast, but it's not day trading. You might be out in a day or two. But every 7 to 10 days, he's pulling in about $1,000 in profit. And again, if you go back to our simple strategy based on the S&P 500, in the last 6.5 years, it's returned about 4.5% per month on average. Okay? The odds are stacked in your favor on these trades. We're not looking for one big home run trade. That's not how it works. Okay? That's too much risk. You're looking for your account to grow safely and steadily year over year. And that really is the key takeaway here. Home runs look good, but singles are what wins the game. These singles are what will enable you to never run out of money and to be able to do the things you want to do. Now, you've seen by flipping from the buyer to the seller, you get those odds stacked in your favor. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stack the odds even further by understanding and capitalizing on the 3 most common buyers or gamblers' mistakes. So that's what we're going to do. Everything that's negative to the option buyer, we as the seller are going to take advantage of this and stack probability even more. That's the beauty. So, mistake number 1 is option buyers choose very unrealistic strikes. They choose option strikes that are so far away the stock has very little chance of hitting it. So let me give you an example. Here's a stock. Let's say you're bullish on the stock. So what do? You can buy the stock, right? Or to take advantage of leverage and the beauty of options, you can buy a call. Well, what you're supposed to do is try to buy a call with a strike price near the current stock price. But those are expensive. It might cost you $1,000, $2,000. So what a lot of traders do is they say, okay, stock's trading at 216. Why don't I go up here and buy a 230 call? It only cost me 50 bucks. Well, what you're doing now is you are causing this to become a lottery ticket. You're spending a little bit of money on something that has a very, very low chance of winning. Why does it have a low chance of winning? Because for you to make any considerable profits on this, the stock is going to have to go from $216 a share above 230. So not only does the stock have to go up, it's got to go up really, really high. That's a lottery mentality. Now, there's buyers out there all the time who buys these options, but they need a seller. They need the dealer, right? That's what we're going to do. Because those low probability trades for the buyer are very high probability trades for the seller. Now, the same goes for the other side of the market with puts. If you think a stock will go down, you should buy a put. But same idea. People buy these puts way below the stock. This thing is going to have to go down $17 a share before any significant money is made. Or there's people that buy those puts down there to protect their underlying stock position. That's great, by the way. Doesn't matter why they do it. They are cheap lottery insurance tickets. That's all they are. And since there's always going to be people out there buying those options, we're going to sell them. Because when we sell them those options, we get a 60 to 90% probability of success. We are putting probability on our side in this instance. Now, the second thing that buyers do a lot is they choose expiration dates that are very close to the current date. It's like when you go to the grocery store and you see a piece of steak on the discount rack. Yes, it's cheap. It's half off. But unless you go home and cook it that night, guess what? Over. Okay? You lost your money. People do the same for options. They buy expirations that are way too close because they're cheap. How cheap? Here's an example. This is how an option's time value decreases over time. I start the graph in the upper left about 6 months from expiration, and you can see all the way down to the lower right, that's when the time always evaporates. What you're seeing here is that it took about 135 days for that option to lose half its value. But in the last 45 days, that decay took off. It was exponential. Now, what a lot of buyers do is they'll buy their options in this final 45-day window because they are inexpensive. All of the value has deteriorated, and now they become cheap. Okay? But again, by doing that, you're stacking probability against you. What we're going to do is we are going to sell our options in this window. Now, to be very specific, we're going to sell our options with a 21 to 45-day range. Even for us as option sellers, as you get way closer to expiration, the premium loses too much value. Even we don't want to touch those options. Okay? We're going to be selling in the 21 to 45-day range. Still enough premium to make it work for us, and that time decay is exponential. This is a kind of a graphic example of it. Let's say you like Home Depot. You think Home Depot is going to go up, right? So what do? You go out there, you buy a call, and you hope the stock goes up. Maybe you go out there and buy it a month and a half away. Well, you're fighting that decay. Even as the stock goes up, that decay is becoming exponential. It's losing, okay? You're losing money consistently on it. You're putting probability against you. Now, the third mistake that a lot of buyers make, and this is one that's not known as much, it's you're paying too much for your options. I want you to give you guys an example because what's the big deal, right? We got two stocks, both right around the same price, 76.24 on the left and 76.36 on the right. But even those stocks are similarly priced, the options are way off. Over on the left, that option is going to cost you $910 for a call. The one on the right is going to cost you $180. Now remember, it's the same strike and the same expiration on the same price stock. Why is that one on the left over 4 times more expensive? It's because that option on the left has extremely high volatility. Well, who cares, right? It's just the price. It's just going to be making a more expensive option, but that's not it. Let's pretend that both of those stocks go up $8 a share. Now think about that. You buy 100 shares of each of those stocks, goes up $8. You just made $800 on each stock. That's a great trade. But that's expensive, right? You got to put up like $15,000, $20,000 to do that. So you're going to use an option. I'm going to buy a $900 option on the left. I'm going to buy a $180 option on the right. Both stocks go up $8. And guess what? The trade on the left, you lost money on. But the trade on the right, you ended up making like almost 400% return. $720 on your $180 investment. But over on the left, you lost money. Why did you lose money? Because that option was extremely expensive. Now, like every other buyer's mistake, we are going to seek these options out and we are going to sell them. Because when we can sell these overpriced expensive options, we can put more probability on our side and we can limit the amount of money we're risking on a losing trade. It limits how much we can lose. It's a beautiful thing. Now, Bob has one of the most interesting stories I've seen. He said prior to working with us, he was making a bunch of the mistakes we talk about here, and it said it cost him dearly. He said he ended up either broke or bankrupt 3 times, and in his own words, came close to living under a bridge. The paycheck system helped Bob turn his situation around in as little as 4 months. He learned to turn these mistake liabilities into strategies that helped him control and stack probability in his favor. In 4 months, Bob grew his account by 71% and achieved a 79% winning trade percentage. Remember, if you want to control your returns and your results, you got to learn how to stack probability. Now, let me ask you a question in the chat box. Any of you that have traded options in the past, have you ever made any of those mistakes? The unrealistic strike prices or expirations or paying too much? Let me know in the chat window. Of course you have. Yes, yes. Well, William, you say no. That's cool, Bill. I hope you haven't. You were taught well. Yes, yes, yes. Mike, yes. Anthony, yes. Yep. Okay, again, Mike too many times, Brad every time. Listen, we've all made these mistakes. We were just taught broken systems. It's not necessarily our fault. Now, let's kind of delve into the second part of this. Hopefully by now, you've got like an itch here. You're like, you know what? This option selling looks pretty darn interesting. But let's talk about risk, because one of the biggest comebacks I hear about when I say I'm an option seller is people are like, you know, I've heard of that before. I had a buddy that tried that. He made money for 8 months. Then one bad trade wiped out all his winners. You ever heard that about option selling? It's legit. It can happen. If you don't trade options correctly, this can happen. Now, this trade, by the way, is very, very easy to overcome. You know how it's easy to overcome? You just don't take it. With options, your risk is known up front. You know the maximum you can lose. If I looked at a trade that said I can make $1,000, but I'll lose 10,000 if it goes against me, I would run away from that trade so fast you couldn't even catch me. And I'm kind of a big guy, and I'm 47 with a bad back. I'm not that hard to catch, okay? You don't take trades like this. If you do, we're taught a busted system. It's as simple as that. Because when this happens, it becomes very hard to recover your losses. Okay? Very, very hard. But if you want to avoid that, one of the first things you can do is make sure all of your trades have a built-in protection system. You're going to make sure that risk management is known before you open the trade. You're going to know how much your risk is and how much your profit is. And if that ratio is out of control, you walk away from the trade. Because if you do that, that's how you're going to be able to select the stocks and set your trades in a way that reduce risk. You can preserve and grow your capital. Like I said earlier, home runs look great, but singles are what win the games. Now, a question I get a lot is, can I trade this in an IRA? And the answer is yes, you absolutely can. I trade these strategies in my IRA from Fidelity. It's something called a limited margin IRA, and you can do it, okay? Make sure your broker supports that, but you can do it in an IRA. And so did John. He said he grew his IRA over 112% in 1 year. He made 48 grand. 85% winning trades. And like a lot of our clients, he came to us and he was struggling for trading with some time, but he learned to follow the system and turned his inconsistent results into predictable income. In 12 months, he had that 85% winning trades. Now, the key of this is he said he spends no more than 15 minutes per day on his trading. It's not a lot of time. So, our options paycheck system makes sure you reduce your risk before you open the trade. First, we choose low risk stocks, a very specific criteria, but in general, if we're bullish, we start by focusing on good stocks that are already rising in price, very similar to the graph you would see here. Then, instead of selling naked, we're going to sell with protection. So let me show you how to do that. Okay? When you have a stock, a traditional option selling system leaves you with all of this risk on the table, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to do this right, and we're going to shrink that risk just to this. So let me show you how this works. This is, again, a graph of a typical stock we'd be bullish on, and I got bearish examples here too, so don't worry. Traditionally, what you would do if you like a stock is you go out there and you'd buy 100 shares of it, maybe buy a call, matching the strike price of the option to the current price of the stock. Not anymore. We're going to make that mindset shift, and we are going to be a seller. When you are bullish, you are going to go underneath the price of the stock, and you are going to sell a put. When you sell that put, you're going to receive premium. You're going to get paid. So in this example, you're going to get paid $200. Now, if you did it on 10 contracts, you would receive $2,000 when you place your trade. Now, that sounds good. And a lot of people that have never done this before, they kind of get confused. They say, well, okay, Ron, I just made $2,000 by doing this. How can I go wrong? Well, it doesn't quite work that way, okay? When you sell the option, selling an option is like your insurance policies, right? You have car insurance, house insurance, etc., right? You pay a premium. You are the insurance buyer. You pay a premium to the insurance company, and they protect your property. If everything goes right and you don't have any claims, they keep all the premium, and you guys were all happy together, right? They didn't have to provide you any protection. You have insurance for all your stuff. You're all happy. An option's very similar to that. When you sell a put, that put is a contract that says, if my buyer wants me to, I will buy the stock from him for $135 a share. Okay? You have a contractual obligation to buy the stock for $135 if the seller wants you to. Now, first and foremost, I've been doing this now for 20 years with options trading. I've been doing it primarily for over a decade. I've never had to buy a stock. Okay, I've never had to do it. I've never had an option where a seller said, you get the stock. Never had it happen. It's part of our management. Okay, so I sell the option, and then what I do is I exit the option later on. These things trade just like any other market. If I buy a stock and decide 4 days later it went up enough, I can sell it. If I sell short a stock and I decide 6 or 7 days later that the stock went down long enough, I can cover the position. Options are the same way. I can sell an option on Monday. If the stock moves enough or moves in the wrong way, I can exit the trade on Thursday and Friday or next week, anytime I want before expiration. So we're not going to hold these options to expiration. We're going to hold them until our profits are hit or our stop is hit. We're not going to worry about taking on stock. All right? Because think about it. If I have the obligation to buy stock at $135 and then all of a sudden the stock drops to 100, I got problems. I can tell you that if the stock drops to 100, there's a decent chance that that buyer might say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and sell that stock to you for 135 now. Now you've got an option or a stock that's you basically own for 135 bucks, it's trading for 100. That's a disaster. We don't want that to happen ever. So what we do is we buy insurance. We're going to take some of that money that we received when we sold the option, and we are going to go a little bit lower, maximize our risk by buying a put as insurance. Now, that insurance leg does a couple of things. Number one is it protects you just in case of an ultimate disaster. When you buy a put, you have the right to sell the stock. So if this ever happened to you, which again, it's never happened to me, but it's theoretical, could happen. Let's say the stock went down to $100 all of a sudden. You are forced to buy the stock for 135. Now you can turn around and sell it to somebody else for 130. You've limited your risk to $5. I've never had to do that, but theoretically you have the right to. Okay? Now, I've never had that happen. So a lot of people say, well, Ron, if that's never happened, why even buy the insurance? Because the insurance does a couple of other things too. Number one, it makes the trade very inexpensive. Very inexpensive. Number three, it protects you against volatility. Number four, it also acts as a hedge in case you're wrong on the position. There's a lot of good reasons to buy that insurance policy. I do. Now, in this case, that insurance policy is going to cost you $100. You sold a contract for $200. You bought the insurance for $100. You are now collecting $100 when you place the trade. Okay? Now, if you did that on 10 contracts, you get paid $1,000. Now, what this does for you is this. You think the stock's going to go up. And as long as it stays above 135, you make money. So if it goes up, you're profitable. If it goes sideways, you're still profitable. If it goes below 135, you're going to take a small proportional loss. A small proportional loss. It's as simple as that. Okay, so I want to show you a couple of trades I did over the last couple of months that I did with my clients. And I just want to show you how this works on a more current example of a real trade that I did. So keep in mind, we trade according to market direction. So if the market overall is bullish, we place bullish income trades. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you some options here. Okay, I'm going to show you a stock first. This is Pulte Group, the home buyer. Now look at that stock. Doesn't that stock just say, oh my gosh, buy me? Look at that thing going up over the past 10, 11 months. I don't know what it's done since June because I haven't traded it since then, but look at that thing. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to look at an option below the current price. We're going to sell an option that expires in the next 21 to 45 days. Now, when you look at an option chain, and I don't care what broker you have, they all have these probability tools built in them. Thinkorswim has it, IB has it, Fidelity has it, Schwab has it, E-Trade has it, Ally has it. You know, if I didn't say Thinkorswim, that's what I use. They have it. They have it so when you look at these options, they have a probability. So what I do is I look at PHM. I think it's going to go up, and then I look at the option chain. Now, when I look at the option chain, I see that I can sell a $75 put and I get a 56% chance of making money. Why do I get a 56% chance of making money? Because the stock is right here. That means it can go up, sideways, or even down a little bit, but not down too much. So I get about a 56% chance of making money if I sell a $75 put. Well, I can go down a little bit farther and I can do a $73 put. Now, as long as the stock stays up, sideways, but stays above 73, I've got a 73% chance of making money. And then I can go on a little bit further and I see a $70 strike. If I sell a $70 put on this stock, now it can go up, sideways, or down all the way to $70. So I know just by looking at the option itself, I can create up to a 91% probability trade. Now let me ask you a question. Which one would you pick? Knowing nothing else about options, nothing else about trading, would you rather have a 56% chance of winning, a 73% chance of winning, or a 91% chance of winning? Let me know. Like I said, knowing nothing else about trading, what sounds the best to you? Hey? 91%? 91% Derek? A couple of your answers, some other ones. You might have something else in mind. But if I was just to ask you, would you rather be 90% right or 70% right? Most of you would say 90% right. Here's the problem. Remember when I showed you that one screenshot of one bad trade kills a bunch of winners? That's what 91% probability will get you. On that one winning trade, you're going to make $100. But on that losing trade, you may lose $1,200. Well, what good is being right 90% of the time if on the 9 winners you make 900, but on that one loser, you pay it all back? It's not worth it. Okay? What's the problem with 56%? You're not putting enough probability in your direction. So what we want to do is we want to focus around that 60 to 70% typically, right about there. Because there you're going to get a good chance of success, and you're also going to get trades that typically are going to average, depending on, how many contracts you trade. Maybe you'll make about 150 bucks on your winner, and you might lose 200 bucks on a loser. Okay? Now, when you're trading with probability, your losing trades are always going to probably be a little bit more than your winners. But it doesn't matter because your profits are going to be a lot more than the losers. Okay? You're going to win a lot more than you lose. That's the beauty of this. So in this particular trade, that's exactly what I did. I sold a $73 put and I bought as insurance my 70. Now, this is done as one trade. It's called a bull put spread. And the name is great because it pretty much says what it is. It's something you do when you're bullish. It's done with puts, and it's a spread. Spread just simply means I'm trading two options, and in this case, I have a $3 spread between them, 73 and 70. Now, in this particular trade, the market went up, didn't go up very much, right? It went up from like 75 to 78 bucks. But in that 3 days, it was enough for me to make my profits on this. I got out of the trade after 3 days and made 876 bucks. That's about my average winning trade, by the way. My average winning trade's right around $800. Now I have 100,000 in capital, just so you know. But my average winning trade's about 800 bucks. So I make about 0.8% on every winning trade. Okay? Now, when the market's bearish, we just kind of flip things over. Target is in an extended downtrend. It just broke below a previous low, so I was very bearish on it. Now again, I sell an option between 21 and 45 days away. In this case, since I think the stock is going to go down, what I want to do is I want to pick a strike price above the current price. So when I look at the options, I see we had a trade at 64% probability at 135, 76 at 140, 85% at 145. Well, let me ask you a question. Which one would you pick? Which one of those do you want? Knowing kind of what you know about options, which one would you avoid? Okay. All right. I see 64, 64, 64, 64, 76, 64, 76. I feel like I'm at an auction now. 64, 64. I see a lot of 64s. And let me tell you something, by the way. 64 is not a bad answer. However, there's more. Okay, I hate saying that. I feel like a infomercial guy. Here's the thing. 64%, not bad. But Target was extremely expensive as an option. And I was actually able to trade the 140, giving myself about 76%. This is one of the things that you can do when options are really expensive. In some cases, we can actually go out and sell an option that's 75 or 80% favorable when they're extremely overpriced. So that's what I was able to do in Target. What I typically do is I sell with the highest probability I can of winning that maintains a good risk reward. And in this case, it was a 140, 145. Now this is called a bear call spread. Bearish because we were bearish. Calls because now we're using calls. We're selling a 140 call and buying a 145. And then spread because, again, it's got a $5 difference between the strikes. Now, take a look at this one. It took me 7 days to make money here. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Look at the stock. It really didn't go anywhere. I mean, it was like at 128. Now it's at like 127. But that small move was enough to get me my profit in 7 days, about 765 after commission, by the way. Okay. Now, another client of ours, Jim, he said prior to working with me, he told me his results were inconsistent and he felt very unsatisfied. He kept thinking there had to be something else out there that was better. Have you ever felt that way? There's something more out there. Jim said he wanted a way to supplement what he was doing, would provide more of a regular income with a high probability of success. After learning the system, he went out and said he had 21 winners in a row and returned about 76% in 8 months. And he said his average trade lasted about 8 days. Okay. Not bad. 7 to 10 days is typical. Can you imagine how that must feel to be going from inconsistent to where all your trades are generating income? That was Jim. What about you? If you were able to reproduce what I've showed you, and it's not hard, okay, we have clients that are doing this. What would you be able to do with that extra income? Type some answers in the chat box. What would you be able to do with an extra 2 or 3% per month in income? What would you be able to do? The first one I see, retire sooner. I know a couple of you guys are still working. So yeah, retire sooner. Travel more. I love it. Golf more. Near and dear to my heart, right? I love golf. Bill, I love it. Rent an airplane more often. Heck yeah. Spend more. I like that too. You're kind of like me. I like to spend money. What can I say? That's one of the worst things about my wife. My wife is a spender, and that's okay. But so am I. On one of our dates, we actually bought an Oriental rug together. Not sure how many people have actually done that on a date. Well, it's in my office now. It's actually right behind me. It's nice. It's beautiful. It's Persian and it's wool. I love it. It's very soft. We call it our legacy rug. But it's funny because both my wife and I are spenders. We love shopping and spending money. Anyway, we said before that buying is gambling. Selling is all about controlling risk and putting the odds of success in your favor, and that helps you generate income. Now, the option paycheck system makes sure you have a guaranteed maximum risk. And again, it all goes back to whether you want to be the gambler or the casino. Keep in mind, the house always wins in the end. Being an option seller is the way that you can make consistent income each month, and it allows you to do it more safely and with a higher probability of success than just buying and selling stocks alone. Now, I want to put this together. I want to show you how you can have that bulletproof system that you can do in as little as 15 minutes a day. And my students who have implemented this system have told me this is the most important thing they learned. Why? Well, one of the biggest things people ask me is how much time is it going to take me? Maybe you're retired, you don't want to do this all day, or maybe you're working, you don't have time to do it all day. Here's the challenge. There's thousands of stocks out there. You got to know how to find the right pick stock, right? The right strategy. When do you get in? What expiration? What do you do if it goes against you? All that stuff. And a lot of people feel like it's trying to find a needle in a haystack because there's so much information out there, you don't know where and what to look at. You spend hours researching your trades. You go from guru to guru looking for advice. Just don't take investment advice from Instagram. Without a system, you're trading blindly. You're like a mouse running through a maze, bumping into wall after wall. You don't know where to go. It's stressful. It's disheartening. With the right system, though, you can identify good trades and get reliable income in as little as 15 minutes a day. But to get that, you need a system, and not just any system, a straight line system. You need a really simple way to know when to place your trades, how to find your trades, how to set them up, how to manage them. So I'm going to walk you through the pieces of the options paycheck system, the order they go in. No one else teaches option selling this way. This is like the secret sauce. There's 6 pieces, the top 5 build on each other, and then that 6 kind of ties them all together. We start at the top with market direction, and a lot of traders ignore this. They just go out and start placing trades. You're going to be placing trades that are either bullish or bearish, and you got to have a way to know the market's direction. By doing this, you're narrowing your focus. So instead of looking at everything, you're only looking at one of 2 possible scenarios. Our options paycheck system has a timing signal built in that tells us what the market direction is. Now, once we know that direction, we need to find stocks that are highly likely to move in the same direction. Just trading the stocks you know, listening to the guys on TV, Financial Times, IBD, it's not the best choice. What you want to do is find good stocks already in uptrends when the market's rising, bad stocks that are in downtrends when the market is falling. Kind of like I showed you with Target and Pulte. Our paycheck system saves a lot of times in 2 different ways. We look at 2 main things, fundamentals and price trend. We have pre-built searches in our VectorVest platform, which we use. That way you're not digging through all that data that the institutions throw at you. Now, once you have your list of stocks, you want a way to select the best ones for option trading. Earlier, we looked at how big of an effect volatility had on an options price, but we don't stop there. We're going to sell those high volatility options, but to take more risk out of the trade, we're going to filter out those with upcoming earnings, and we're going to make sure the expiration date is in that sweet spot. Now, you can use tools from your broker. We happen to use a proprietary search tool which finds these candidates really in a matter of seconds. Now, setting up your trade. You got to pick the one that has the best probability of success. Not necessarily the highest, but the best. based on the strike price and, most importantly, the risk to reward ratio. We want to give ourselves the most chance of success, but not at the cost of having one winning trade or one losing trade wipe out all your winners. Now you got your trade picked out. What do you do if it goes for you or against you? You don't want to be sitting in a trade feeling frozen like a deer in the headlights. Our paycheck system has rules to take profits at a predefined level, and these can be set up in advance with your broker. If a trade goes against us, we have a simple adjustment strategy that brings in more income that helps you minimize your losses. We also know exactly when to exit a trade, and I actually set that up in advance with my broker so it happens automatically, and it's very unemotional. Oh, I don't like losing money, don't get me wrong, but at least the decision is made for me automatically. And then last, you want a way to do this quickly. You don't want to be spending all day on this process. You want a tool that allows you to do these things. It should be something comfortable you're comfortable using. Now, some brokers have tools that are better than others. You might find some paid tools to be effective. I use our proprietary tools from VectorVest called Options Pro, and that saves me a lot of time putting these together. And earlier, we talked about Mike and Jim. Each of them is getting their results in about 15 minutes a day, and so is Hugh. In fact, he told me one of his biggest struggles was finding a system that not only worked, but was also time efficient. He said he wanted that proper balance between trading and free time. He didn't have that work-life balance that people talk about. Are you like that too? Are you spending too much time on things that you don't want to do and not enough time on doing the things you want? Now that Hugh learned the paycheck system of selling options, he says he's got more confidence, he's got more free time, he's able to have more fun. In his first 43 trades, he had 38 winners and returned over $26,000 in 4 months. Now, I want you to do a little exercise here. I want you to take your pen. Don't write on your monitors, by the way. Write on a piece of paper. Just want to put that disclaimer out there. You never know, right? Coffee's hot. Don't write on your screen. I want you to put a little star next to the part of your system where you're good. For example, if you have a quick way to find a list of stocks likely to go in the direction of the market, put a star there. But if there's an area where something isn't quite working or you're not sure what to do, put a little frowny face there. So for example, if you don't know how to manage, repair, a trade, put a frown there. Don't overthink it. Take about 10, 15 seconds. I want you to give yourself a star or a frown. Now, I'm willing to bet maybe 1 in 100 investors will ever know how to do this. Now, let me ask you a question. Type in the chat for me. What areas do you need to work on? So for those of you that are here, what areas do you need to work on to become a better, more efficient income trader? Okay. Mike, that's kind of a stock selection thing about filtering out stocks with earnings. That's a stock selection. Robert, all of them. Steve, all of them. Alareza, trade management. Trade management, Mike. Lewis, setting up the trade. Dave, trade management. Stock selection. Option selection, all of them. Steve, Keith. Jerry, all. Option selection and trade setup, Monty. Bob, stock selection. Premium collection, Manish. Here's the thing. You've got a roadmap to how to become successful. Use it. What we need to do, if you want to be proficient at drawing an income, you got to have stars all the way down. Now listen, I don't know the exact reason that you came to today's webinar, but I'm going to make a few guesses. Maybe you haven't really known what to do and you feel like you've been trading blindly, bumping into one wall into the next, and that's left you with inconsistent results. You make some money, but then you lose it all in the next trade. Just like what Jim said before he implemented the options paycheck system. Maybe you're having loss after loss, and those small losses are just killing your portfolio. The money coming in isn't exceeding the money going out. Maybe at the end of the day, you're just not where you want to be. Now, today, I showed you the secret to fixing that, and it's a secret I bet, again, only 1 in 100 investors will ever know, and now you're one of them. You've seen how it's possible to win even if you're wrong, how you can do it with very little risk. It's even less risk than buying stocks and selling stocks. That you get a consistent income every month with the right system. I showed you just a few of the many, many people who use the system every day so they never have to worry about retirement again. You saw over and over the secret to generating consistent income is that shift from being the gambler to being the casino. Now you're going to be that one investor out of 100 who knows that secret. That means there's 99 other investors out there who will continue to do things wrong. They'll be buying options, making all the mistakes we talked about. We can't stop them from doing it. There's always going to be those investors out there who will buy options incorrectly. Let them. Let them be the gamblers. As long as the gamblers are there, they need a casino. Remember the old saying, the house always wins in the end? The options paycheck system teaches you how to stack the probability of success in your favor, just like Brian did, just like Bruce did, like Bob, like Jim, like Hugh, like John. So if you're like most people, you're wondering, how do I implement the options paycheck system in my portfolio right now? Well, you got a choice. Option number one is to do nothing. Stay where you are. If you already have enough money to retire, maybe you're not worried about running out of money, then you might not even need the option paycheck system. And that's great. I admire that. But if you'd like to make some extra money every month, that leaves you with two other options. Option two is to do it alone. Try to learn how the option trades work. Try to figure out the direction of the market. Learn to analyze thousands of stocks to try to find the best one. Hope you picked it. Management right. If you're willing to work hard and spend hours in front of your computer, and you're willing to learn by trial and error, you might be able to pull it off. Mike wasn't able to, but option number three is to let us guide you. I'll walk you through each piece of the options paycheck system, and in just a few weeks, you'll have a simple system to follow that doesn't take a lot of time. So, of those three options, ask yourself, what's going to be easier for you? There's two types of people. Person number one is someone who dreams about their financial goals, but they never take action or do anything to make it happen. The second person is someone who's serious about their financial future. You're ready to take action when you see an opportunity in front of you. Now, since you're dedicated enough to be with me to this point, I'm willing to bet you're person number two, and that makes you the perfect candidate to get started on that first options paycheck. So let me tell you what we put together for you. The options paycheck experience is the most comprehensive program for generating consistent income using option spreads. The options paycheck experience is the only implementation of its kind that teaches the secrets to generating consistent income with options. We're going to show you exactly how to find, set up, and manage option spreads to generate income, and how to do it safely and consistently in any type of market condition so you never have that fear of running out of money. Now, after going through the experience, you're going to know exactly how calls and puts work, along with all the terms you need to know about options so you no longer have a fear of options. You're going to have clear signals telling you whether to place a bullish or a bearish trade, and even when not to trade. You're going to be able to quickly identify the stocks that make the best candidates for your options income trade. We use a rule-based approach, and that frees up a lot of time in your life. We're going to set up an income trade that can give you up to a 70 or plus or better success rate. Again, even if you've never done this before, we're going to teach you a trade management game plan that you're going to have in place prior to placing your trade. That way you can handle any situation the market throws at you. You're going to be able to enter and exit trades with your broker like a pro, whether you've never done it before or you've done it 500 times. We're going to implement a system that allows you to safely and consistently generate income so you can begin to live that lifestyle you want without the fear of running out of money. Now, the course is 8 modules, and we made them so each module builds on the one prior. As you go through the modules, you're getting closer and closer to that end goal, which is that system for consistent income. Now, the first 2 modules are what we call the option income foundation. A lot of people try to build that successful income portfolio, but they base that portfolio on a weak foundation of knowledge. We totally understand what it's like to learn options for the first time. We've been there. That's why it pays to learn from a team who's gone through this before. Now, the outcome you get from Module 1 is you will know exactly how calls and puts work so you can confidently use them in your trades. And you'll know which terms to pay attention to, which to ignore. That way you're not wasting time or getting frustrated. In Module 2, you're going to learn what a spread is and how it works. You're going to be filled with a ton of confidence to start building your system around these new trades. Now that you've constructed that solid foundation of options knowledge, we're going to lay out the step-by-step system to placing these income trades and generating your options paycheck. Each step along the way is going to stack probability in your favor and reduce risk. And it all starts with knowing when to trade. Here, you're going to get complete clarity on market trends. Instead of just looking at all possible trades, we're going to narrow our focus. We're going to know whether to place bullish trades, bearish trades, and when not to trade. After you know the direction of the market, we're going to find stocks that are likely to move in the same direction. That's going to stack your probability even more. The outcome here is you're going to know how to quickly find the best stocks and indexes to trade that give you the highest probability of winning. Now that you got your list of stocks, we're going to narrow it down to the best option candidates. By using the rules in this module, you're going to make sure that you're getting paid top dollar for your trade and making it so you can make money even if the stock goes nowhere. You're going to continue to stack probability and reduce risk in module 6 by the way you set your trade up. Here, we're going to make sure your trade has the perfect combination of risk to reward by knowing exactly where to set your strikes. You'll know which option to sell, which option to buy, and it's going to be an easy yes or no answer. Great trades don't happen by accident. They happen because they're set up properly and strategically right from the start. In module 7, now that you got that high probability trade picked out and you're ready to place it, you're going to learn how to have your plan in place so you know when to exit the trade, not only to take profits, but to minimize losses. You will never be frozen like a deer in the headlights again. No matter what the market throws at you, you'll know how to react, and that allows you to trade completely stress-free. Now that you found the best stock, you got your trade picked out, your game plan, it's all mapped out, you're ready to go. This is going to break down the execution phase into simple, repeatable steps. So we'll give you some broker knowledge here. That way you have the confidence to go out into your broker and place these trades properly. For those of you that are new, we even include a checklist. That way you never miss a step. You know, when someone's first starting out, it's comforting having a security blanket to make sure you're doing everything right. And with that, we even do that for brokers. So in addition, we got video walkthroughs of several popular brokers. We got Fidelity, we got, Thinkorswim, we got some IB stuff out there, some E-Trade stuff out there. That way you can learn how to do these things in your broker. Now, before we talk about the price of the course, I want to make it even more low risk for you. We offer a 100% money back guarantee. You can go through the entire course, and if you're not satisfied, we taught you how to profit using options. All you got to do is notify us within a week of finishing the course, and you get your money back. It's completely no risk. There's one caveat. You have to do the course. That's it. You either have to watch the live presentation with us, or the recordings, or a combination. I don't care how you do it. You just have to do the course. Do the work. Do the course. Do the assignments. Because I know if you do, you're going to see good results. But if you don't do that work, you won't be eligible for a refund. And the only reason I have such a tight refund policy like this is because I want to attract people who are ready to jump in, actually do the work and get the results. Serious investors. So in order to do that, when I make the refund policy that says you have to do it, I only attract people who are ready to go. Now again, this is a system, when you do it right, it can average at least 3% per month. That's 36% per year, and it doesn't take a lot of time to do it every week. I got this email from a client, Joe. Ron, I'm writing to teach you. Thank you for teaching the options paycheck course. I took your class last fall and wanted you to know my results for the past 10 months. I keep a journal to document every trade, and so far I've profited on 239 trades out of the 350 I've taken, a 68% winning trade rate. I profited over 100,000 in this time. What's more exciting is that since my knowledge and experience have grown in regards to taking really good risk-reward trades, I've profited over 50,000 in the last 6 weeks. My success rate has been 78% over my last 100 trades, and I only take trades with a 2-to-1 or better risk-reward. Thank you for teaching this simple but effective system, Joe. If I told Joe I'd give him 100 grand in exchange for 2, do you think he'd take that? Would you take that trade? Well, I'm going to be making you a great offer here, as you're going to see. Now, before I tell you more about it, I want to point something out again. It's important you understand this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not something we expect to become a millionaire in the next 24 hours. It's serious and requires some effort on your part to do it. So if you're not going to commit to it, then don't do it. It's not right for you yet. It's for serious people who take their investing seriously and who are willing to put in time to learn the system. So if you're serious about this, you're ready to do get the work and get those results, then the Options Paycheck course is perfect for you. It's step-by-step training to go from basic options to a full complete income system. You know, just these 8 modules alone are worth the price of the course, but we've got some bonuses for you as well. Our first bonus is called the Mastery Package. Now, during the first month of the live curriculum, we want you to watch 2 modules a week. Then what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 live mastery sessions. That way you watch the modules from the recording, then we're going to get together live twice a week in these mastery sessions. We're going to walk you through the assignments, answer any questions you have, make sure we clear up any questions you have in mind. Then we're going to have a weekly Q&A at the end of the week, just to wrap things up, making sure that you're on pace and on track. If you need help, we got a private dedicated email address that goes right to me and my team. That way you go right to the people who have the knowledge. We're also going to give you 2 months, November and December, access to both our VectorVest platform and Options Pro. You can test drive what I think are the best tools in the industry to do these trades. Are they mandatory? Do you have to have those to make this work? No, but I want to put them in your hands so you can see the power of these tools. Okay? Now, the second bonus is this. During the month of December, we are going to start implementing. You're going to be invited to my live trading sessions. I do 2 a week, one for the S&P 500 and one for stocks. You're going to be able to see me doing the system. I placed 4 trades today with my class, 4 new bearish trades. You're going to see my live trading. Then we're going to do live office hour sessions 2 more times during the week. That way we can talk about the trades we placed. You can tell me your trades that you're finding. We can look them over. Just one more opportunity for us to get together and look at trades. My clients who've taken this class love implementation month because it's just time that they can again and again and again repeat the steps to making this work. It's 12 total sessions in December. I'm also going to include my SPX paycheck system. So if you're worried about having the time to find stocks, this kind of boils it down to 1 trade a week. You can do this system in as little as 15 minutes a week. It's that simple. There's 1 trade a week on 1 symbol with 1 setup rule, 1 profit rule, 1 stop rule. Easy. And again, I have live trading sessions for this once a week. You'll be invited to those in December. Okay? So as a recap, with today's offer, you're going to get the complete options paycheck training program, 8 training modules, the videos, the checklist, the cheat sheets, the quizzes, the slides, the mastery package, the implementation month, the SPX paycheck. All told, value of $54.75. But here's the opportunity. I'm going to roll up my sleeves. We're with a couple hundred people who are serious about generating income. If you choose to be one of them, together, we're going to create an income system in your portfolio, even if you've never had success with options. So if you're ready to have me take you by the hand, help you install this in your portfolio, then instead of that $5,500, we have a special early bird price of $12.95. We even have an easier 3-payment option. You put the first payment down today and then 2 additional installments 30 days apart. But since you spent about an hour with me today, here's what I want to do just for you. If you order before the end of our live session, we can knock it down to $9.95. Okay? We have about 30 minutes or so left, maybe about 22 minutes, I think, for the end of our session at the Q&A. You've got a chance to get that course for $9.95. It is the lowest price you will pay for the course as a new subscriber. Okay? If you've taken the course before and you want to take it again, we got a special perk for you. But if you've never taken the course before, this is the lowest price you will see. Once we finish, the price goes back up to $12.95. And listen, I know that $12.95 or $9.95 is an ask, but ask yourself what it's going to cost you not to do this. How much are you going to lose out by trial and error? How much profits are you going to miss out? How much time and energy are you going to spend trying to do it on your own? And then ask yourself, how would things be different if you did it and it worked? And remember, it's low risk. We have a money back guarantee. You know, there's an old saying that the best time to plant an oak tree is 20 years ago, so you can be sitting under it now enjoying the shade. You know what the second best time is? It's today. It's not too late to begin to prepare yourself for retirement and learn how to generate income. This is one of those deciding days in your life. Is it going to be the day you took action, set yourself up for a secure retirement? Or is it going to be the day you look back where you said, dang, I squandered a great opportunity to learn how to make an income stream? I hope you don't regret the decision you make. Don't miss this opportunity. I want to teach all of you in my next class. So again, all you got to do is go to www.optionspaycheck.com, get yourself registered. That $9.95 price is only available while we're live in the webinar. So if you've never taken the course before and you want the lowest price, this is it. After we end, back up to $12.95. So I got a couple things I want to talk about really quick before we get into the Q&A to answer any of your last minute questions, but they're kind of important things to talk about. I mentioned that the class is live. Well, if that's the case, Ron, when are the live sessions? Will they work for me? Here's your schedule. The course officially kicks off on Tuesday, October 31st. We're going to have a welcome session at 4:30. We'll be there for an hour, just in time for you to get out with your kids and start trick-or-treating if you have them. Trust me, my kids' trick-or-treating that day is at 6. I have plenty of time to get that welcome session out, then go trick-or-treating with the kids. The first mastery class is Wednesday, November 1st, and then Thursday, November 2nd is our second, and our Q&A is Friday the 3rd. So if you sign up tonight, we're going to open all of the modules to you starting today. We're going to give you VectorVest and Options Pro starting November 1st. You're going to be able to watch the recordings, get yourself ready for Module 1, and be ready for that next Wednesday. Okay? Then as you go through the month of November, we want you to concentrate on 2 modules a week. There's 2 mastery classes that are live, and then the open Q&A at the end of the week. Okay? Do you have to come to these classes? No, they're all recorded. You can watch them anytime you want after they're done. But we have the live curriculum in case you want to do it live. We have a lot of clients that just do it recorded. It's fine too. Everything is recorded. Everything is there for you, whether you can be at the live classes or not. It doesn't matter. Same goes with December, which we start implementing. Okay? On Mondays at 11 a.m. and 2 p.m., we do our S&P 500 trades and our stock trades. We do that through the month of December. On Wednesdays at 4:30, we have our office hour session after the market closes. In that session, by the way, I will show you how to place trades for the next trading day. So if you're one of those folks that works during the day and you can't do this, I'll show you how to analyze the markets in the evening and place your orders for the next day. Friday, during noon, during the market, we have another time to look for trades. So we've got a lot of repetitive stuff in December to make sure you're ready to implement. You know, another one of our clients, Greg, prior to this course, I struggled with knowing how to protect myself when the market was moving away from me, and I feared if I didn't fix it, I'd lose more of my portfolio than I could afford to lose. After taking the paycheck, I feel better prepared to trade and much more confident. In the first month, I made a net of 10-2 from my options income trading with 9 winners and only 1 loser. I would absolutely recommend the course. It was well done, very educational, informative. It's an excellent educational opportunity that I'm thankful I took advantage of. Don't let fear hold you back. You'll make more in the first month than you pay to take the course. I was one of the fence sitters who didn't take this course for a long time when I saw it offered. I lost a lot by not taking the program sooner. I'm very grateful and appreciative of the work that was put into making this training program available. Now, if you're one of those that have very little options experience, you might be concerned. Do I need a lot of options experience? We poll our clients. After every class, we send a survey. 85% of course graduates said you can be successful with little to no prior options experience. You may have a lot more questions during modules 1 and modules 2, but we've got the resources. We've got the help out there for you. You can do this. And just another selection of some of our clients. Cheryl, I've surpassed my expectations. I don't need the money back guarantee. I tripled my investment. We've talked about Bruce. Frank, after taking the course, I already have a $7,300 profit. Before the course, it was a crapshoot. Now I believe in the options trades I'm doing. Cam, I've made back the initial investment so many times over. It's a small part of my portfolio, but it's probably the most profitable. Jake, I finally found a method of making consistent winning trades with a high probability of success. So don't miss the opportunity. Get yourself out there, www.optionspaycheck.com. You can call our office, 888-658-7638. Registration closes 10 a.m. October 31st. The $9.95 price goes away in probably about 16 or 17 minutes. Get out there, get registered. And by the way, if you're going to sign up, do me a favor. Give us a quick shout out in the chat box. It's, hey, Ron, I'm in. We want to welcome you to the course, tell you what's going to happen next. Now, before I break into the Q&A, just a couple of more comments from our more recent students. Neville said, thanks for a wonderful course, where within a short time, you've opened our eyes to many things. Your experience, enthusiasm, and desire to teach comes through easily. You put a lot of thought in the training manual. I've already paid for the tuition with a few 35 Delta SPX trades. It's been a pretty good SPX month. We're up about 4% for the month in trading on the SPX alone. David says, the options paycheck experience, by far the best course I've attended all my years of VectorVest since 99. You've eliminated my fear of options trading. The manner in which you present the material is truly outstanding. Ben says, the attention I received for all my email questions was above and beyond what I expected. A lot of my questions were demonstrated in class. That's another thing. Send us an email. We'll do your question in class live. That's the bread part of it. Great job, Ben says. So again, get yourself out there. Get yourself signed up. It's $9.95. All right. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in one of my colleagues to do the Q&A session. I think it might be Brian. He's here. But if not, John, we'll start the Q&A.
Hey, Ron.
That sounds like Brian.
Yeah, I said the same thing to myself. Hey, lots of chat in the chat box. This is great. We got people who've taken the course before, like years ago, who are thinking about coming back. We've got people who have been waiting to take it. And then we've got other people who are saying, hey, can I take it in the future? So we got so much excitement of different times people have taken it. So it's great to have everybody here. And whew. All right, you ready for some Q&A, Mr. Wheeler?
Absolutely.
All right. Let me first hit this one up. This $9.95, as Ron said, is good while we're live. Go to optionspaycheck.com. We'll walk you through the order process in just a sec. Then it'll go back up to $12.95. There's one more week left of registration, and then registration closes. So this would be your last opportunity this next week to get in, and then we have to close registrations because live classes start next week. So we'll be ready to go next week. So this is your last chance to get in. All right, Mr. Wheeler, we had some questions come in both on the YouTube stream and in the live stream. We had a gentleman who was talking about starting with a small account. He had $7,000 in his account. Mm-hmm. So there's a few questions that came up when we were going back and forth on that. First off, let's just start with the obvious that for everybody is $7,000 enough to trade the system that you teach?
Definitely. I mean, be realistic, right? If you've got a $7,000 account, think 3% per month. You're going to make a couple $100 a month, but that's a pretty good return. At the end of the year, if everything works out, you make $200 a month on that account, you're going to make $2,400 by the end of the year. There's nothing wrong with starting small and then just continue building as you build. So no, it's perfectly fine to do that. Perfectly fine.
All right. And one of the things that came up in the chat when we were going back and forth, his first comment was, oh man, 3% per month. It seems like it would take me forever to build up my account. I wrote back, I said, like in 10 years, you'd have over $150,000 at 3% per month. And in 17 total years, you'd be over 1.3 million, just making that consistent 3%. But Todd also, our coworker in the back, Todd also said, just be careful. You don't approach this, and this goes for everybody else. Don't approach this as like just looking at the dollar signs, and because if you start looking at just the dollar signs, you start to chase lottery tickets, as Todd said to the gentleman in the chat. See this as you're learning an income system. Focus on doing it the right way, and the results will come of it. Right, the results will come. Don't go. Even if you have a small account, don't be like, oh man, this is going to take me forever. No, it adds up pretty quickly. Just learn the system, get good at the system, become disciplined, and you'll get there.
Agreed.
All right. Ron, next one. There's some people who are in Canada, which is great to see that enthusiasm. There's a gentleman in YouTube who is asking about a Canadian database. Is it best to trade this in the US? And can somebody in Canada still trade this system even though they live in Canada?
The answer is yes. You can still trade it in Canada using Canadian stocks. Now, you're going to get more trading opportunities here in the US because we just have a bigger options market. So you will see more trading opportunities here. However, you absolutely can trade this in Canada. We have a lot of Canadian clients. They trade the Canadian exchanges and they do it fine. Now, one thing I will tell you is that if you're thinking about like an RRSP account, I think it's called in Canada, you can't do this kind of trading in an RRSP account. So you can't do it there, but you can, however, do it just with a regular account in Canada, yes.
All right, I love this one from Mike. He said, you got me pumped up. So thank you for that, Mike. And those of you who are like Mike, who have signed up and are in, please check your email, because we would have sent you an email with all the details. It'll have the dates and the times of live sessions. It'll have the directions to get into the course, which we'll show you in just a couple of moments. It'll have basically everything you need. But if you don't see it in your inbox, please check your junk or your spam folder. And if you see it there, mark it as not spam, put us on your whitelist or whatever it's called, drag it to your inbox, because we're going to be sending you probably about 1 or 2 emails a week just to keep you informed throughout the course on what the schedule is and things like that. So please check your inbox. And then, by the way, you can get in there. Ron, I think you might have mentioned this earlier.
All right, guys,
about
we start this video,
the SPX bonus module, that they can actually get in there and start taking a look at that tonight if they wanted to.
They could. And I mean, you can start trading that. I mean, as long as you have a little bit of options knowledge, I mean, you can start trading that right away. It's pretty easy.
Cool. Actually, why don't we do this? Let's walk people through ordering first. Like if they go to optionspaycheck.com, we'll start there. And then why don't we just show them what the course looks like?
I can do that. That is not the window. Although that window is correct. I actually opened up in another one so we can see it easier. There we go.
All right. So again, we have about 9 minutes, right?
Yep.
And Ron will walk you through the registration process. Basically, register today. It'll bring you down to a section with the $9.95 special. But by the way, before we click on that, we just added this to the site. If you look right below that, we have got some testimonials. But there was a gentleman earlier who was asking about the testimonials that we were showing in today's session. And he wanted to know, are there other ones? Like, are there other people you can talk to? Well, you can't. We don't have everybody's phone number for you to call them. If you click on View All Testimonials, it'll open up another page. And we just compiled, there's like 20-something comments and testimonials from people. You might actually be somewhat similar to one of these. And if you want to read their full testimonial, just click on the Read More link, and you can get more details about them and what their situation is. All right, so going back to this page, if you click on the blue button next to the $9.95 webinar special, Go to buy now. There's two things I'll mention on this next page. If you are already a VectorVest member with a username and password, click sign in and just put in your username and password. That way the course goes on your account. The only reason you'd have to fill in your name and email and password here, as you see in the empty boxes, would be if you are brand new to VectorVest. Like you've never had a VectorVest account before, you don't have a username and password. That's the only reason you'd have to fill that in. But once you click sign in and put all your stuff in, you have access to the course right away. And at this point, I'm just going to pass it over to Ron. Maybe you can just give everybody a quick little tour of what the course looks like and show them what kind of behind the scenes, what's in there.
Absolutely. So when you get the email, you're going to go to university.vectorvest.com, and that's going to be in the link, so you don't have to remember that. And then there's going to be a list of courses, and your list won't be as big as mine, but you'll see the options paycheck experience. There'll be a button next to it that says start course. You just click on it, and hang on a second. It's this happens when I have the little pop-up with my computer. Not sure why it does that, but it does. There we go. Had to redo it. You click on start course, and this is what you're going to see. So over in the upper left-hand corner, this is all our getting started and all that kind of stuff in our welcome recording. What I want you to click on right off the beginning is the course curriculum checklist. Open that up and print this document out. It's like 6 pages. And the thing is, it gives you just a little checklist for every module. That way you're making sure you're doing all the work. That's for all 8 modules. And then at the end, it's got the schedule. So you will know all of the live courses right there. You can just print that out. Now you have a schedule of all the live courses through November and December. And remember, you don't have to go to all the live courses. We record them. Now, under the checklist, these have all of the modules. So module 1, you'll see there's a recorded lesson section. This is the meat, if you will. This is what we teach you in module 1. We break it down into individual lessons with a review. Then we have a review question area where we ask you some questions to make sure you're using the knowledge right. And if you're afraid to take the quiz, we even have a video of me walking you through the quiz. That way you know the answers. Every module has action items that we want you to do. That way you're not only learning, but you're implementing at the same time. An FAQ section. And then lastly, you're going to see a section for the recording. If you open that recording section up right now, it says one from August 2nd. So if you want to, you can actually watch my mastery class that I did with my last options paycheck class in August. But that'll be overwritten on November 2nd with your class. And then it's the same through all 8 modules as you go through the course. Under the 8 modules, as Brian said, here's the SPX trading system. If you're new and you want to jump into something, I would recommend the SPX 35 Delta trade. That's the trade that I do on a week basis every week. I've been doing that trade for a long time now. We have all of your office hours and Q&A recordings here by week. We have the live trading session recordings. Now, these are all going to be overwritten as we get into December with you guys. But if you want to go and just check out my live trades I did on the SPX in August and September, or if you want to check out the stock trades I did in August and September, you're more than free to look at my old recordings. Those will be updated as we get to them in your class. Remember, you get a trial to Options Pro in November and December. I've got some tutorial videos if you want to learn a little bit more about Options Pro. I've got some broker videos out there for each individual broker that'll help you get started. And this one, I think the last one is kind of important. This is the webinar links. So if I open that guy up, guess what? Here's all your links. We always get comments because email's hard, right? Every email's different. Gmail, Ymail, Hotmail, whatever mail. Emails get lost, they get put in spam, they get put in clutter. So if you ever find yourself, Ron, I never got a link for the live session this week, they're all right here under the schedule and the links. So already right now, I can click on live welcome. There's going to be the link for the welcome session next week. Here's the links for all the classes next week. And then every week, these will become live and you can click on them. And then most important again, resources. This is where you're going to find all of the materials. So in the modules, you can print out the slides that we use, the PowerPoints, the worksheets. As you get towards the later modules, we'll include some other things like a position sizing worksheet. And in module 8, we've got the checklist that you'll need. And the SPX system, we've got a walk-by walkthrough or a step-by-step walkthrough from Thinkorswim. We've got a trade tracking spreadsheet. Basically, all the stuff that you want to print for the class. That way you have the materials in hard copy. That's it. That's how you get the materials in the university site.
Fantastic. All right, next up, Ron. By the way, we have Steve. I just know there's probably some other ones who said I'm in. I just missed them. This one, it just came in from Steve saying I'm in. Welcome to you, Steve. Great to have you on board. This one is, this is a great reminder from Mike. Mike, who took our income challenge. So Mike just got done going through your SPX income challenge. I think there's a couple of other people who did that. If you did take that income challenge, there's actually a special link that we have for you, or you can call our office because you get a slight discount as well. Just let us know. We can help you out with that. But Mike said, let me go back to his question. He's like, I'm logged into the university. I don't see the course yet, which was a great reminder that I forgot to tell everyone, which is if you are logged into the university, in order to see it, you have to log out and then log back in. It's like a refresh. I'm not sure if just refreshing the screen will do it, but just to be sure, just in the upper right-hand corner, there's a click on your name and just sign out, and then just go. You might just want to close the browser and then just go back to the university and sign back in. You should see it there, Mike. If not, just give our team a call and they'll just talk to you one-on-one over the phone and help you out with that. All right. Chuck, who I believe might also have taken your SPX income challenge, he had a question for you, Mr. Wheeler. He's like, are you using the same spread strategy for your stock trades that you do with your S&P trades? And he had a secondary question, which is, which one would you say would be the most or more profitable?
It's about equal for me. I'll answer the second question first. It's about equal. In a typical year, I make just as much on stocks as I make on the S&P. So for me, they're equalized out. Now, as far as the first question, there are differences. When I choose stocks, generally I don't use Delta. I have to make sure the graph itself looks okay. So we do more analysis of the graph itself, whereas the S&P we don't. So there are some differences in stock trades than in the S&P. Stocks are a little bit more. There's a little more rules associated with stock trades because stocks trade a little bit different than the S&P does.
All right. A couple more people must have heard me welcome Steve. And they said, hey, what about me? So Maynard said, I'm in. And Luis says, I'm in with a big exclamation point after it. So welcome to both of you. By the way, if you're like Steve and Maynard and Lewis and others who have just joined, you can log in and start going through the course material now. You don't have to wait. Ron's showing us there's 45 seconds left of the $995 price. Get in there and you could start going through the course tonight and write down some questions. If you want to bring those to the mastery session starting next week, that'd be great. So take advantage of the next 30 seconds so you get that discounted price. We look forward to having you in the class. But I'm looking through the list of questions, and I think, Ron, we grabbed all of the ones that we had flagged.
Okay.
But if somebody does have a question, our office will be open. Just give our team a call. But I'm going to pass it over to you, Ron, if you want to say anything else to wrap things up. But I'm going to pass it to you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Brian. And thank you, everyone else, for attending, and to my colleagues, John and Todd, in the background as well. And thank you for attending this last hour and a half. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward, for those of you that signed up, I'm looking forward to you being with me over the next 2 months. We're going to have a great time, and we're going to install this income system in your portfolio. And we're going to show you in December how we do it. And we're going to implement it. We're going to make sure you're ready to do this. So when 2024 starts, you've got an income system that'll start generating income for you. So thanks once again. I appreciate it. We'll see you all hopefully next week in our first session. And let us know if you have any questions. Call our office, and we'll see you hopefully next week. Take care, everyone.